Comics of 100 Years Ago, December 13th, 1925. It's Gasoline Alley by Frank King. Walt sits in warm winter clothes as a polar bear nuzzles his neck. He cries, "Skeezix, you tickle." We see our Gasoline Alley title in kind of old English script as Skeezix approaches the polar bear with a pitchfork. He is also in winter clothes. A ship is sailing, and Doc, Bill, Wicker, Avery, and Rachel wave it goodbye. "Goodbye," cries Mr. Wicker. "Remember me to Santa," says Avery. "We won't be back till we find him," says Walt. He, Skeezix, and Pal are on board the sailing ship. They head into some icebergs with Pal at the ship's bow, and Walt says, "We just keep going north. That's all the bearing we need." Their ship banks against the ice, looking very much like the Shackleton ship. Walt walks with supplies as Skeezix and Pal follow him. Walt says, "We'll establish a base and work from here. We'll unload the lumber next." "Uncle Walt makes some hot soup for supper," says Skeezix. They approach a shack with a chimney sticking out of it. Actually, it looks like they built it because Walt's got a saw and hammer. Walt says, "Now that's a place where we can keep warm and comfortable. Now we must look up our nearest neighbors." "We build a house in a hurry," says Skeezix. Unfortunately, we have one racist panel here where Walt and Skeezix talk to some Inuits, and Walt says, "We must have dogs and a sledge and are bound for the North Pole." We get some racist alliterative grunting from our Inuit characters, and now the sledge is being pulled by 4 dogs with Pal walking along. Walt says, "This is good going. We can cover many miles a day with a team like this." "Does Santa Claus know we're coming, Uncle Walt?" asks Skeezix. They fish outside of an igloo, and Walt says, "Now for a fish dinner in our cozy little igloo." "We'll catch a catfish for Pal," says Skeezix, holding out a pitchfork. There have already been 2 fish caught. Down some large rocks goes the sled. This time Pal is attached to it. He's leading the team. Walt says, "The trail is getting mighty rough. We may have to do the rest on foot." And on foot they go with Pal and their walking sticks. "Are you getting tired, Skeezix?" Walt asks. "Nope, hungry," says Skeezix. And here they are at Santa's home with a lit lantern over the door. Walt says, "We thought we'd come and surprise you, Santa Claus." Santa runs out and says, "Wonderful, I'm awfully glad to see both of you. Come right in, dinner's ready." Pal watches with his tail wagging. Santa holds Skeezix, and Walt says, "I couldn't hold him back." Santa says, "Well, I've got something pretty nice planned out for Skeezix this year." Pal sits and watches with his tail wagging. Now we see the truth of the matter, which is Skeezix asleep in Walt's arms, and Walt is reading him a book. We have a large silhouette of Walt against the wall. Pal is sleeping beside his chair. Walt says, "He wanted me to show him these pictures of the far north. He was so sleepy he didn't get much out of them."